When she found out that I was living in the ghetto, nyumba ya mabati, she held her head like this and cursed the day she was born. I begged. The first time I knelt down to beg a girl, I knelt down, I begged her. I told her, please, please, mommy, please, don't go, don't leave me. And she said that she's leaving. I met a certain lady from Kisumu called Catherine Ouko, a loving girl. She's my heart. We used to talk on phone. Wakati nasikia sauti yangu kwa simu alikuwa nafikiria mimi ni Gabriel, Angel Gabriel. Hakuwa anajua sura yangu ni ya kiatu. Now when she came, it was another big surprise. She was wearing like the Uwur families, you know them. I'm sorry to say Uwur family. Yani how the Uwurs wear.
Oh, church, kanisa.
Yeah. Hiyo nguo refu mpaka chini. So unajua I looked at her and said, "Hey, is this kienyeji or it is an nini?" Wewe enda, wewe unakaribia saa enda. Gari kakanyago ika Alafu fortunate there was somebody who was passing there with watermelons. Then nikanunua watermelon ya 40 bob nikampatia. Just in a respectful way nikamwambia shika watermelon utoe nayo hasira. Akakula watermelon, gari ya pili kukuja nikamwambia sasa wacha tupande hii turudi kwa nyumba. And we went back home. Imagine that watermelon did a miracle. And then tuko kwa nyumba mpaka leo and we have 3 children. But what the security forces did to me is something that I cannot even explain to you. In fact, I didn't know that one day I will have a child. They really beat me like hell.
Stayed in prison for around 2 years.
Around 3 years.
3 years in prison.
3 years in prison and 5 months and 19 days. Alcoholic. I had to move out because alikuwa ananitesa, ananipiga. So I could not stay with my parents in the house. Cook in mama na mama lukange kumadikora antiagoni yero kamano nyasayo medindalo kata baba no seto tupodintie alamuni nyasaye kamora mora mantie lamuni modaga ina robika.
Beautiful people, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Love is a Beautiful Thing with me, your lovely host, Millicent Alivita. Na kama kawa we'll talk about everything matters love. Kuanzia kwa kukatiana, dating, courtship, all the way mpaka kwa marriage. We'll tell you beautiful stories about love. We talk about inspirational stories. We talk about self-esteem, mental health, and all stories about love. I always tell you guys that I advocate for love because love is so beautiful. And talking about love, let me give a big shout out to our first sponsors. Our partners today are Haven Dine Restaurant located in town. They're the best restaurant in town. Wakona food poa, wakona drinks poa, wakona services poa. Kama unataka kupeleka demu yako out, unaweza mleta hapa kwa East Restaurant. Their services are so nice. Make sure that you come here and share the love from this place. Make sure that if you're a returning subscriber, ukae hapo hapo kabisa. And if you're new here, this is the best place to be. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share. Karibu sana to the story of the day. And let me welcome the guest of the day. Karibu sana.
Asante sana.
Umesikia naitwa Millicent. And you, what is your name?
My name is Ken Omondi Odongo aka Makti Nala Nawe. Jina kubwa maisha ndogo.
Jina kubwa maisha ndogo. Ni nini nafanya useme what? Because I remember watu wangu si mara ya kwanza wanakuona. They've seen you again from my previous episode and wakasema lazima nikurudishe wasikie story yako ni gani. Can you tell us who is Makdi?
Thank you very much for asking that. Makdi is a Kenyan artist born in Nyanza. I'm a Luo, but most people tend to say that I'm a Tanzania boy. No, I'm a Kenyan boy. I'm a Luo from Kisumu County, Kabonyo Kanu, Kanyagwal. That is my home. So those who say that I'm a Tanzania, I'm not a Tanzania bwana. Mimi ni Mkenya, but ninaimba kama Mtanzania.
Okay, so ni Diamond Platinum wa Kenya. Yes. Anyway, naweza taka sana kujua your story and how you ended up here, because right now I believe that you're not performing anymore, but you are very talented. Even ndio ninaweza sema ulizaliwa wapi, maisha yako imekuwa aje, how has everything been mpaka hapa mali tumefika?
Oh, that is good. Okay, I was born in Mombasa. Nilizaliwa Mombasani, hata niongee Kiswahili. Nilizaliwa Mombasani, tukakaa Mombasa, then due to the difficulties, then my parents shift from Mombasa to Nairobi. So Nairobi is where now I was reared. Nililelewa Nairobi sana, nikakaa Nairobi. Then at the age of 7 years, because my father was an alcoholic, I had to move out because alikuwa ananitesa, ananipiga. So I could not stay with my parents in the house. So I had to move out of my place and come and seek shelter in the city. So I was a street boy in Nairobi. And my music, if I can say, my music started in the street. When I was in the street, I was so lonely. Nilikuwa nakaa na huzuni, so nikikaa na huzuni mali, and most of the time I was based there at Kencom. That is where I was. So nilikuwa nakaa chini nawaza, then naanza kuimba tu wimbo zangu. Then when I start to sing, people will come and drop coins there, 10 bob, 5 bob, and that is how I started. Then eventually there was a comedian called David Kamau Njuguna. David Kamau Njuguna alias Nyengese. Nyengese was my mentor. Anybody who is outside there who knows Nyengese, David Kamau Njuguna was my mentor. Is the one who made me to be a comedian, a musician, because I was his handboy. Mimi ndo nilikuwa nambebea bag na hizo vitu. So nilikuwa namwangalia vile anafanya, vile ana do things, anachekesha watu. Then I mimic what he does. Nilikuwa narudia nafanya hizo vitu nafanya. And then najikimu nikiongeza na kidogo kidogo, kwa sababu sisi tulikuwa tunakula kwa pipa. Hakuna mali tulikuwa tunapata chakula. Usiku tunapatia watchman 5 shillings, anatupatia accommodation ya kutuchunga. Then the next day in the morning as early as 4, tunakuwa tumeshatoka mali tulikuwa tunalala, tunaanza kutembea kwa street. Yes. Na sasa ulisema ulitoka home ukiwa how old? I left home when I was about 10 years, 11 years if I can remember.
10 years. Huo ni mtoi
very young boy. Nilikuwa mdogo sana. So I could not stay with my father because hakuwa ananitaka, kiingia kwa nyumba ni vita. So I feared violence. Na mimi sikuwa nataka mwenye anapiga kelele. Even today I fear noise. I don't like kelele na kupigana. So I had to go outside and seek other alternatives za kuishi. And that's how I ended up in the street.
Tell us, how was life in the street?
Life in the street was not just as easy as some people think. It is very difficult because when you wake up in the morning, you don't know where you will start. You don't know who are you going to ask for food. So you just ask God to see if He will add you more life, more time and more days. But mostly we went to the hotels and then we asked for leftovers.
Mother alikuwa wapi hiyo time?
My mother was there. My mother was there. My father was there. In fact, my father is one of the people who started Kamkunji, not Kamkunji Soko really, but Kamkunji garage up there. They are the first people to start kutengeneza majiko.
Oh, jua kali now.
Jua kali. They were the first. In fact, they were 5 people. 4 people from Uganda and plus my father. So those who doesn't know how jua kali started there, it was my father, Joseph Odongo alias Singh.
Nanyi wote mko na manini, ma nicknames.
Yes.
So and how was education? Education yako ilikuwa aje? Because I can see you're unaongea poa sana. Your English is so nice for somebody who has been raised in the streets.
Okay, my mother is the one who struggled to take me to school. But since I had started taking these things like gum, I was sniffing glue. I was addicted in glue. Nilikuwa na sniff glue vibaya sana. And in fact, I thank God because today I'm a human being. That time, I didn't look like a human being. Nilikuwa navuta gum. By the way, if you can be shown my pictures back there, you can't believe that it is me today. But all in all, I thank God that I left the street. But the street was very bad. Even right now, those who are there at home, usijaribu kwenda kwa street ati unasema ati I have to leave this place, I go to live in the street. No, street is the baddest place ever to live. Unakula kwa pipa, unalala kwa gunia, mvua ikikuja, hakuna mahali pa kujizuia. Ukijizuia mahali unaambiwa wewe ni mwizi. Unatoka unanyeshewa. So life was very difficult. And another challenge zile tulikuwa nazo kwa street ni kanjo. You know, the kanjos of today are very good. In fact, I can say they are very good. They don't beat chokoras like our times. Our time we used to be beaten, we used to be chased. So it is not a life of peace. It is a life of violence, and all the time it is violence.
So education wise ulifika wapi?
Now, in the side of education, there was somebody called Bosco. I think you know Bosco institution in Isili. So Bosco was the first people to take us from the street. Then when we were taking to Bosco Children's Home, I could not live there because niliangalia nikaona, hapa siwezi ishi. Naona skuma githeri. Kwani mimi ni sungura, siwezi kula nakula githeri mboga. So niliangalia hivi nikasema pana, I cannot live in this place. I left the same day I was taken there.
Children's home.
In that children's home I left. Then when I went back to the street. Then my friends, my colleagues there were asking me, ni nini mbaya? Si ulikuwa umepelekwa kwa shule? Then I told them, hapana, ile maisha pale, even this one at least it is better. So I continued in the street about 1 year. Then I was arrested. The time when I was arrested, because I was a juvenile, I was not taken to committee.
Okay, hold up. Kwa mtu mwenye ajui juvenile, what is juvenile?
Juvenile institution is a prison that is taken children who are underage. Kama wewe ni mtoto ambaye uko below 18 years, you are taken to juvenile. We have juvenile like Kabete Children's Home, we have Gitadhuro Children's Home, we have Kericho, we have Bosco. And then we have Don Bosco Institution in Kakamega. Yeah. Yes. So those are places where I had to visit because kushiko ilikuwa ni kitu kawaida when you are in the street. Kushiko ni kawaida. It was like a breakfast and lunchtime and supper. Unashikwa every time. Yes.
So kind of juvenile.
Nikapelekwa juvenile. So when I was in the juvenile, that is when I started contemplating on going back to my home because life there was pathetic. Tulikuwa na upele, tuna machawa, tuna nini, chakula ni kidogo, though we were children, but chakula tulikuwa tunapewa kidogo. Then the time of eating in juvenile, it's just like prison, that big prison you see. You take supper at exactly 3 p.m. You take breakfast at exactly 6 until the next day. So things were not good like that. Then on the side of education, in juvenile home, they are not teaching well as some people think, because some people think that when we are taking to the juvenile, we are going to get education, I don't know what. There are those education you can get there. One of them are these practical works like carpentry and mechanic. Those one you can do them when you are in prison. Whether in a juvenile or prison, big prison, you do those one. So I could not get that education when I was in prison. So until I took, it was something about, I took around 1 year and 6 months in Kabete. Then I was released. First, I was taken to my parents because that time we were living in Kariobangi South. I was taken to my parents. They were asked if they will accept me to go back. Then they accepted me to go back. Then I was taken back to prison. After 3 months, I was released. Then after I was released, things did not come easy the way I thought. I thought maybe when I left the prison, things would become easy. Things could not come easy that way. So I had to go back to the street because due to my father's habit, he was a drunkard person. In fact, I nicknamed my father DDO, Daily Drinking Officer, because he used to drink like hell. DDO, Daily Drinking Officer. That father of yours who drinks always call him DDO, Daily Drinking Officer. So I had to go back to the street. Then my mother could not take it lightly like that. So she's the one who came after me when I was in the street. For the second time. When my mother got hold of me, then he came with the policeman. Then I was arrested, taken back to home. I was, I can say, in castration or what. I was put in the house. I was under house arrest. I was under outside. I could not go out. I could not do what. So until my mother came and told me that she had found a school and she's going to take me to school. And that school was Korokocho St. John Primary School. That time it was headed by Father Alex. So what made me to like the school, there was food that was being provided in that school. Korokocho. Those who knows St. John Primary School, Ngunyumu, it is next to Ngunyumu Primary School. So Father Alex is the first person to take me to school. And surprisingly, my first teacher was a Chinese. My first teacher was a China. And in fact, even today there's an app of Chinese I do, and most people do not understand how I do it. I was taught Kichina during those days, and I still know them out until today. Yes, so that is where I started my class 1, class 2, until class 3, then I left. In class 3, I left. Then I was taken to the village because they feared that I might go back to the street. So the best thing that they do, they took me back to the village, Ushago. Now, the worst thing that came when I was taken back to Ushago is that they left me there alone. My mother left, my father left, they went back to Nairobi. Then I was left there with my grandmother. Now, my grandmother was old, around 70 years. I was living with her. Now, she could not take me back to school there in the village. So people took advantage of me since there was no parent who was near who could help me, who could fight for my right. So the villagers took advantage of me. The advantage they took of me is walinibadilisha kuwa mchungaji wa ng'ombe. So I started herding cows. Nikaanza kuchunga mang'ombe. And during that time nilikuwa nachunga ng'ombe, sikuwa nalipwa, nilikuwa nachunga bure. I do the job, you are given food. And there's nothing like money you are being given. There was only one person who was giving me money. And the money that he was giving me was peanut, 300 bob per month. There's nothing you can do with 300 bob. But that time I appreciated because when I get 300 bob, 100 bob, I will go and buy some second-hand shoes and wear. So things were not easy there at home. So it went like that until there was a time that now the villagers started calling me a thief. If something get lost to somebody, they will call my name. So I was asking God, where will I hide if all these things are happening like that? When I was in the street, police could not give me a chance to live in peace. Now I'm in the village. The villagers are calling me a thief. What will I do, God? Now, since I was praying every day, I was praying. One day I said, because God is not answering my prayers, I had to move out of my home again in the village. I went to look for a job of herding cows in another village. So those people, they did the same things my villagers were doing. They took advantage of me. So I was herding cows and I was not given any payment. I was not being paid. So then I got sick. Nobody's giving me medication. I had to run away. I went back to my home. I said I'd rather go there at home, eat crash, but live in peace. Yes.
So, and sasa hauku complete education at all? Okay,
after going back, now there was a time my mother told me we go and visit my aunt who was living at Asumbi convent. She had been taken by the Catholics, nuns. So we went there to visit them. Now, when these nuns came to greet us, then when they looked at me at first, they said, and your face looked like a bright boy. You look like a bright boy. Then I was just saying, yes, yes, yes. No, yes, I'm very bright. Yeah, the English, the yes was very easy in my mouth. So I was saying, yes, 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 yes. And they were saying, you're very bright. Will you go back to school? I told them, yes, yes, I will go back to school. Then I was very happy. I got excited because I was thirsty of education. I wanted education. So this sister, she was called Sister Judith Cherono. Currently, she's based at Bomet Convent. She's very old, but we still communicate. She's the one who said that I have to go back to school. But still, it was a challenge. Now, I went back home. There was no result that was coming. And I told my mother, I will not live there like this. Like, I want to beg people again. I don't want to beg again. I will have to go and look for a job. Then I went back to herding again. Now when the sisters heard that I went back to HUD, then they got furious and they sent messages to come and collect me. And then I was collected in the evening, taken to a nearby Catholic. I was not now taken to a Sumbi mission. I was now at a Hero mission, Catholic mission. So I lived there with the sisters. And the first time I was a boy and I was living in the mid of sisters. Just imagine living in the mid of sisters. So I was afraid. And I was asking God, how are these things happening? Then I just sat there, relaxed. Since everything was coming the way I wanted, I got everything that I wanted. Food, shelter, everything that I wanted, I got there in the mission. Then one day, I can say it is angel from heaven. I got a news in the evening. I almost fainted when I got a visitor from Australia. She was a white man. She's called Bart Rex. He's called Bart Rex. The co-owner of the Mercedes-Benz company in German. So he's the one who took me back to school. Now they were asking me, which school do I want to go? And I told them, any school they will take me. Then the sister took me to Kericho Boys Boarding Primary School, one of the best schools in the country. So I was taken to Kericho Boys Boarding. Now I started school afresh. Now since I left in class 3, and I don't know whether it was I was genius or what, when I was taken to boarding school, I refused that I was not in class 3. I said that I was in class 7. And now, so, you know, I'm saying that I'm in class 7 and I cannot answer a question of class 7. So, I was just, because I had grown. So, when I go class 5, class 4, people will laugh. So I said I'm in class 7. So I was given an interview. The next day I was given an interview. Yeah, class 7. So, tunile tu akili tu ya Mungu tu. Then I found myself, I passed.
A miracle.
I passed. Yeah, it was a miracle. A total miracle. I passed. Then when the principal, the headmaster came and told me that you are going to join our school, I got excited that I didn't even eat that day. I was excited. I looked at the school and said, I'm going to join this school. I'm going to learn in this school. I didn't believe. So we went back home. Then I was given a date to come back, then to report. And then I was now learning at Kericho Boys Boarding Primary School. That is the school that ilifanya nikakujua hizi vitu nasikia. Hiyo kizungu nasikia nilijulia Kericho Boys Boarding. Na hizo vituko kidogo nilijulia Kericho Boys Boarding. So the street boys, wale street boys wale wako hapo nje, tafadhali just go home. Everything will happen the way you want. Ask God to change your life. God will change your life. So I went to Kericho Boys Boarding. I started there. Then 1998, I set for my KCPE. Yes. Yes.
Amazing stuff. At least tunajua maili sasa kizungu ilitoka. And then after that, now you became an adult, yeah? Okay.
After leaving Kericho Boys Boarding, I passed with an A. Wow. Then I was supposed to be taken to Ulenana. Now, Ulenana High School was much expensive. And when I went there, everything I was doing alone. I was going to the school to ask for admission myself. Nobody could take me there because when I asked somebody to take me to Lenana Secondary School, they thought that I was lying. Because when somebody look at me and imagine that I'm telling him that I've been called to Lenana High School, how? A son of nobody can go to Lenana, how? So they refused to take me to the school. I went myself to Lenana. If the Lenana people are watching this clip, tafadhali, confirm. I was there, 1998, I was there, 1999. So when I was there at Lenana, I went with the things that they wanted, but they asked me for the parents. And I told them, I gave them my story, the way I'm giving you the story right now. And I told them that my parents are people who are unable, they cannot come with me here. Then in fact, they were afraid. They thought, and I went there with a shot and some tattered rubbers. So I was like a chokora. Na sikupitia gate, nilipitia gate ya chini kwa ngenge huko wamepanda maviazi. Huko niliingilia. Ukitoka na stage 4. I entered through the back door because kwa gate singeingia, nilikuwa nimejivaa vibaya na nilikuwa peke yangu. They could not allow me to go in. So I came through the back door, then I went to the office. That is where now they were asking me, and in fact they were afraid because when they look at me, they see I have nothing. Nothing. I was just me, Ken, myself, without anything. Now when they ask me, what do I want? And I told them, I want to be admitted. My names are so and so and so and so. And you called me, here is my letter. And they told me the school fees, how much. Then it was something like 74K. Then, which I think right now is running at somehow 200,000 or 150,000. It was 74,000 then. Then, you know, my heart got stuck and I said, hey, 74,000, who can give out this money? No. So they told me that they are going to send a letter for me, an official letter, so that I go back to the school. And when I went back, I was very sad. In fact, I started crying because I felt like those people have denied me the chance to learn in the Lenana Secondary School. So I went back to my sponsors, those people who were sponsoring me, and I told them. So when I told them about the school fees of Lenana, they said that they cannot pay 74,000. They cannot pay 74,000. I sank. I thought to myself, and I felt like, you know, doing something that is unthinkable. But something in my heart told me, no, just wait. Then I had to ask another school. So in provincial, I was called to Kericho High School, provincial. National, it was Lenana. But provincial, it was Kericho High School. So I went to Kericho, still myself. When I went to Kericho High School, I arrived there around 5:30 in the evening. And with my box, with one soap, one bar soap, with kamasia, ile mawe ya kusugua mguu. One bar soap with kit kamasia, ile mawe ya kusugua mguu. Hiyo ndio nilikuwa nayo. I went to the reception. Then the teacher on duty came to me and asked me, how are you? What is your name? I told her everything. Then she told me to open the box because she wanted to check what is in my box. Now, when I opened my box, she almost ran away. What she saw in my box is one bar of soap and a stone ya kusugua mguu. Then akaniuliza, are you serious? I told her, angalia kwa barua zenyu zile ziko hapo, utaona jina yangu iko. In fact, she was very sad and she sat down there and I was very hungry by then. So as I was talking, she felt something that was amiss in me and she felt I was hungry. She went and brought me milk and loaf. That's when we started to talk again. Then I told her I have nothing. I have only box with that bar soap. Any other thing I don't have. I don't have mattress. I don't have bed sheet. Anything that you know a Form 1 goes with it in the school. I had nothing. Mrs. Jarida Marindani, wherever you are, thank you very much for what you did for me. You are the one who welcomed me in school. You are the one who bought me the sheet. And you are the one who gave me that mattress. Thank you very much wherever you are. If God has still given you life, thank you. I still remember you. I appreciate it. So that's how I started my secondary school.
Secondary school ilikuwa iko sorted?
Not really. Some teachers, 1, 2, 3 teachers gave me some money. I went and bought hiyo nini naitwanga aji ya papers za white. They have names. These are write papers. Yeah, not rim. It's called hizi nakujaga tatu. People buy them 3 pairs. Naitwaje? So niliambiwa ninunue hizo papers. I don't know, I cannot recall them right now. Hizo ma full scarves. Lakini kuna jina, there's a name. Kwa hiyo zinakujaga in bunch. So the teachers in the school are the one walichanga, wakachanga, wakanipatia pesa, nikaenda kwa supermarket kununua vitu za shule. I had nothing, absolutely nothing that time. That is how I started Form 1 with nothing at all. Yes. And
now life after high school, how was it?
Okay, let me tell you one thing. The unfortunate happened before I cleared my Form 4 at Kericho. We had a school strike, and the school strike went badly. The school was burnt, and some people were injured, and one teacher was assaulted. People were arrested. Almost 130 something were arrested. I was among the people who were arrested at Kericho High School. And that time, I was arrested merely because I was a leader. And people kept on mentioning my name, that the captain was there when people started fracas in the dining hall. So I could not get myself because I was a leader. So I submitted myself. But what the security forces did to me is something that I cannot even explain to you. In fact, I didn't know that one day I will have a child. They really beat me like hell. Then I was arraigned at Kericho prison. That's where I stayed for almost 6 months. I stayed in 6 months, then I was released under section 87A, whereby it was like an abduction, if I can say. It was a drama, by the way. Those people who were at Kericho that day, the year 2000, the year 2000. If those people who are there who saw, they will say that I'm talking the truth. We were treated like thugs. In fact, I was beaten until I collapsed. I thank God I'm alive today. Then I was transferred to Nakuru prison. And before I was taken to Nakuru prison, that prison was like a godsend, because that arrest made me to stay at former President, Excellency President Daniel Arap Moi's home. I stayed at Daniel Arap Moi home, not whatever, home. There's a cell there at the place, because the security they were afraid, because the boys I was arrested, some of them were boys from powerful families. There was a boy who was his father was a minister. I had with the son of Makto. So they feared. That's why we were taken to Menengai, Kabarak, at Moi's place. And that one is another privilege. I say that I stepped in Moi's compound because of that arrest. Then after 2 weeks, we were arraigned in court. Then after being arraigned in court, we had already now remained 21 students. The rest were released on bond, and I remained only one person. I remained one person. I carried the cross of 2,000 and something students in school. So I'm the only person who was left in the courtroom. Others went. So my world came crumbling that time. Yes.
So, and at what point were you released from that place?
Okay, Nakuru prison I lived until the year 2003, May, around 16th, 19th there.
So you stayed in prison for around 2 years?
Around 3 years.
3 years in prison?
3 years in prison and 5 months and 19 days. Yes. So I was there, nobody could come and visit me. I was just there alone. I tried to tell the court to release me, but they could not release me on free bond, because even the family, my family at home, they could not manage the bond, because the bond itself was 1.4 million. Where will my parents raise 1.4 million?
Do you feel like you stayed in prison because you came from a less privileged family?
I stayed in prison because my parents were less privileged. They had nothing. At all, they had nothing that I can say that they will offer for me to be released. In fact, I thank the chief magistrate who had my case that day. She was called Gladys Ndenda. In fact, there was a time even she gave me money for food, and she's a judge. And she said that she was going to give me a free bond, somebody to come with an ID only. ID. But my family, all of them, they refused. They refused, and they said that as long as I have stepped in the prison, I am a thug.
So you stayed there?
I stayed there until I cleared my case. And I was released without being detained. I was released under section 215.
That is so nice. Now, you came out, you started working, and I want us to go to where you found love.
Okay. Now, when I left prison, many a times prison warders could come and tell me that you will rot in prison. You are the only student now in prison. You remember the story of Bombolulu? The Bombolulu students, when they were arrested, I was in prison then. So these people would tell me that you will rot in prison. And I told them, you say that I will rot in prison, but I'm telling you that the day when I will be released in prison, it will rain. It will rain. And that day, it rained. And that is the time that I knew God is there. And in fact, I knew God when I was in prison. That is where I started now knowing God. Until today, I keep on calling the name of the God every day. Even I'm doing what, I will still call the name of God, because it is God alone who got me out of prison. So when I came out, I had nobody to receive me. So there was a businessman called Machache. He's a Kisi. He's a well businessman. So he gave me some little money, like 200 bob. Just 200 bob. And this 200 bob, I was holding it on my hand and standing in the middle of the road. And that time it was raining heavily. And I could not move. I was standing there and it was raining. The reason is I stayed in prison for 3 years, 5 months, 19 days without feeling the rain. So I stood there feeling the goodness of rain. As rain fall in me, I thank God. I look up in the sky and I say, God, thank you very much. Thank you for helping me. So until somebody came and pulled me out of the road, I was standing there in the middle of the road, not beside the road, in the middle of the road. You can imagine. And it is a road where vehicles are passing all the time. But I was standing there and it was raining. So you can see. So I went there to the people when I was fully drenched. And they were asking, why? Kwani hukupata mahali pa kujuzia mvua? And I told them, I wanted to be rained on like that. Because it was my first time to feel rain after 3 years. So one parent volunteered to take me to his home. She was called Margaret Ngogi. She took me to, she was living around Nakuru, a place called Menengai. She's the one who took me to her place. And then she told me to live there until the day when I will feel that now I want to go home. And I still appreciate the Ngogi family in the slope of Menengai. The welcome you gave me. In fact, you gave me my room alone. I was alone and you gave me everything. It is like you knew that I'm a musician. You gave me a big system. You put a television there for me, and I did not sleep that all night. I did not sleep. I was listening to music. I was imagining good things because I was now in a good place. I was from hell to earth. Yes.
Now take me through the journey until you found your love.
Now, I took almost something like 3 weeks in the home of Ngugi's family. Then I just felt myself that I had to go home to see my parents. Then we did not have phones, so I could not call them. So I had to go there physically for them to see me. So I left there around 14th February, after April, May, around 15th, 14th there. They gave me fare. Then I went home. So when I arrived at my place, I did not even pay for the boda. I was a celebrity. I was a celebrity. I tried to pull out money to give the person who was carrying me, and he said, no, we are taking you for free. And in fact, about 5 bodas were escorting me. Just escorting like I was somebody big, but I was not a big person. So when we arrived at home, my mother was there in the garden. And when my mother saw me, she screamed. She screamed. And I was worried the reason why she was screaming. Then I came to realize later that there was somebody who had already taken a message home that I was killed in Molo. He said he took the message there, and in fact he was even paid for taking the information. He said that I was shot after I jumped out of a moving lorry, GK prison lorry. But actually, the man, there was somebody who was killed in Molo that time. But the name of the person was Kevin Omondi, not Ken Omondi. Me, I'm Ken Omondi. So this person, when he read about Kevin, he rushed home to tell them that I'm dead. And the people there in the village, they believe when you are in prison, if you die, you are buried in the prison. That is what many people believe. Nothing like that. Nobody ever buried in the prison. Prison, if you die, you are taken to your home. And that is why you have to give out your particulars when you are in prison. So I left there, I went home. So when my mother calmed down, then I told her it is me. I removed the shirt I had so that she see the marks that she knows me with, and then she accepted it is me. Then we sat down. It was very painful. It was excitement and pain going together. It was like something called spasm. It is pain and sweetness inside. So I asked Mom, where will I start? And my mother told me, relax, my son. Don't hurry. Just cool yourself first. But I could not cool myself because I was not ready to sit down. I wanted to do something. When I was in prison, I used to ask God to let me out. At least I get somebody who will pay me 20 shillings per day. I will be happy than staying somewhere whereby I don't get anything, I don't do anything. It was sickening. But now when I'm outside, I need to do something. So my mom told me the only works that I can get there at home is digging for the people. Kulimia watu nyumbani kwa mashamba. And I asked my mother, how much do they pay? And she told me that probably 100, 200, 300. And I say, okay, 200 I can manage. The next day in the morning, around 3, I left house. 3, you can remember, 3 a.m. Yes, I'm going to look for job. Na nilisafu nyumbani ushago. Naenda kutafuta kazi. I wanted job. I wanted something that I will get so that to help my mother to buy something so that I eat. Because my dad was an alcoholic, somebody who don't know whether he doesn't care whether you DDO, daily drinking officer, DDO, but he's a late. he's a late. Yes. So after that, I went to the people who were sponsoring me, previously sponsoring me. And in fact, even them, they had not known that I had been released. So when I went them, it caught them with a lot of surprise. Then when they saw me, they asked me if I want to go back to school. And I told them, yes, I would like to go back to school. But since they were about 3 people, one person did not like what I was saying. And he said that, okay, since I had come from prison, I have criminal mentality. I cannot be taken back to school. So I said, if you cannot take me back to school, then take me to an institution whereby I can do something. There too, they refused. So it was me, I was left on my own. So I pleaded with them, and one person talked to them, and they said, okay, what they can offer me is a course. And I told them, the course that I can do mechanic engineering. Then they told me mechanic engineering is expensive, they cannot add. So they tell me they told me to go and look for a technical institution, technical school. So I went to Eldoret. When I went to Eldoret, the Eldoret people guys told me that they want 74,000. I remember the first time when I told them about 74,000 of Lenana, and I said they will not accept. So what they did, they connected me with somebody they know at Nyawita Polytechnic in Kisumu, Kondele. Unfortunate, when I went to Nyawita Polytechnic, the CEO of Nyawita was the husband of my aunt. And our chemistry did not go well. He did not like me to be there. So he sent me back home to come for interview. So when I went back for interview, he brought about 19 people to interview an individual like me. 19 people interviewing me, mechanic job, 19. Then there were some questions that they were asking that I thought these guys were just playing. They were asking me about salt. How much salt do you eat? So I looked at them and so these guys, there's something hidden. Then I remember that guy seated there is not a friend of mine. So that is a testing question so that they hear if I can reply it rudely. Then I said, I just take a little salt because I know the problem of salt. Everything went well. And I cleared the interview. Then I was sent back. I went back to Nyawita. Now, life was not easy at Nyawita. I could do boda boda in the evening. Tukitoka games saa 10, mimi naenda boda boda. So na hustle mpaka saa 2 usiku. Most of the time nilikuwa napata kama chakula imeisha. When food is over, na hakuna mtu anakuwekea chakula. So nilikuwa na kwa mama wanauza chakula hapo na nunua chakula na kula hivyo. But this person continued with the habit of kunichukia. Then I left the place myself. I just left the place without telling them that I'm leaving. Just carried my thing with my bike and I left. So they learned later that I left the school without the knowledge of the administration. So they asked me what next. And I told them, now it is up to you to see what we will do. Now they took me to Chembelil in a place called Luanga Garage. Now Chembelil is now where I did my mechanic properly. After doing mechanic there, somebody had volunteered to teach me free. Now, during the time now I was going to do my exam, I paid my exam with my own money. Yes. That is how I did my mechanic after leaving the school. Yes, yes.
Truly amazing. As in you've just beat all odds.
Yes.
And then what happened from there?
Now, after I cleared my mechanic course, it was a challenge. The person who was our manager there refused to accommodate me. He said that since I have left the institution whereby he was being given some little money, he said that I have to look for my own place. Now my world became dark that day. I went back to ask God. And I remember the story of Job. And I said, if Job went through that, became poorer, and then God gave him 5 times, then I said God will do something better after this. Now I was left on my own. I went and looked for a house. I rented a house for 500 bob. It was for 500 bob per month. I started living there myself and hustling here and there. Now I started selling water. Ile baiskeli yangu sasa nanunua maji na mtungi ninauza, nanunua maji na mtungi ninauza. Then I started a car wash, and in fact that car wash is still there. And if you go to Chemelil, you will find a car wash there. That car wash was started by Mark D himself. He's the one who started that car wash there at Chemelil. So after I stayed there for something like 3-4 years at Chemelil, then people were hearing me singing. Every time when I'm doing my work, I was singing. All the time I was singing. Now people were telling me, "But you're a good singer. Why don't you go and record? And at least you can live a better life than this one you are living right now." And I told them, I have nobody to promote me. I have no sponsor. There's nobody who can promote me. But they told me, studio is just 20,000, 30,000. Now, I sit down and said, okay, 20,000 only. Okay. I had to sit down and start a plan. Now, I asked God to bless what I want to start. Then I was now asking for advice and doing research in music. Then, fortunately, I met a musician by the name K-Star. And another one called, this is a guy who sang with Juakali. Kumbe, under 18. This guy I know called. The guy who sang under 18. Yeah, they are the one. In fact, they came inside my house. K-Star and that guy. So they are the people who told me that I can do better. I'm a musician. They acknowledge that I'm a musician. And I had nothing that time that I can say that this is my demo. I had nothing, only my voice. So when they left, I started thinking, what will I do so that I achieve my dream? Now, that is the time when Equity Bank was starting to catch up. It was now catching up in the country. So I approached Equity Bank manager and I asked him if they can help me to sponsor me to produce music. And they told me they cannot sponsor me music. What they sponsor as Equity Bank, they have a foundation that sponsors orphan children. Only that. But other things, other activities, they cannot sponsor me. And then I asked the manager, now, what will I do? Since I have come to you, you are the one who will now tell me what to do. The manager told me, do saving, open an account and start saving from today. And then I opened an account there and I started saving there. And when the money reached 15,000, I went to look for a studio to record. So the first studio that I went to record was called Soundcheck International, owned by Mr. Ogweno. That time producer was called Ken. Ken is the one who produced my song that called Eddie. Eddie was produced by producer Ken at Soundcheck International. So after I recorded Eddie, things were not good. I had cleared all the money because I was looking where, and cartels in music are many. There are those people who are telling me, bring 5,000, I show you the way, bring 1,000, I show you the way. So everybody I gave the money, they just went like that. Everyone I gave the money, they just went like that. So it was me and my own. I still remained on my own, even after I did my first track of Eddie. Now, I went back to my car wash, because when I did my first track, I thought that music is a gold. That when you put it there, millions will come from above and drop there. Kumbe, I was danganyaring myself, nothing like that. So I went back to my car wash job. I did my car wash, then I accumulated something like 48,000. So when I realized that I have 48,000, then now I left for Nairobi. I went to Nairobi. When I came to Nairobi, I had contacted Juakali. Juakali was a good friend of mine. Then he was in Nairobi and I was in Kisumu. But we used to rhyme. Juakali by the name, watu wengi wajui jina, anaitwa Paul Nunda. Paul Nunda alikuwa rafiki yangu. Sasa yeye alianza kuniambia bwana kuja kwa studio. So the second track I was to record with Caliph Records. But when I arrived in Nairobi, simu ya Juakali ilikuwa mteja. Juakali could not be found. So nikabaki niko stranded. Sasa ni kutembea tu na kulala kwa lodging, kutembea na kuspend. And you know Nairobi, one day you can spend even 5,000 if you are not careful. So I was spending and there's nothing that is coming in. I was spending money and there was nothing coming in. So until there was a time now, I met a cousin of mine who connected me with one musician called Isa. Now Isa is the one, leave alone the late Isa. Ish, this one is called Ish. Yes, is the one now who took me to Ketable Records. So Ketable Records is where I recorded Nala Nawe. And Nala Nawe is the one that has capulated my music. Yeah, that is it.
That is so amazing. Kuna swali moja nashinda nikiuliza, and then you just take me hivi hivi. Did you find love? Ulipata mpenzi?
Oh, love, I could not find love that easily. And I avoided love, in fact. Nilikuwa najaribu sana kuzuia mambo ya love kwa sababu money. You know, love without money, you cannot. So, bado love nilikuwa nimeweka parking. I had not found love, even after doing music. Now, when I produced, and people started listening to my music. You know, my music was being played in the vehicles, where in the radios. Now people started knowing Mark D, who is Mark D. So now ladies started chipping in. Then now they are coming in. So I had to ask for wisdom to interview myself in these issues. Then the unfortunate happened. I met a certain lady from Kisumu called Catherine Ouko, a loving girl. She's my heart right now. When I met her, in fact, it was not as easy as that also, because when she realized that I'm a musician, she went back home. She left me again. She said that, mwanamuziki, a musician is somebody she cannot. Then I had to persuade her. Then she came back. Until today, I found love in Catherine Ouko Omondi. She's the only person who gave me the love that I have been yearning for. Only that. But the rest, devil in the house.
You say devil in the house?
Yes.
What makes you love her so much?
Okay, what makes me love her so much it is that she appreciated me at first. When we met, we talked, she accepted me the way I was. In fact, that day, sikuwa nimeklad. Nilikuwa tu nakaa tu kama, nilikuwa nanuka zebu. So, we used to talk on phone. Wakati nasikia sauti yangu kwa simu, alikuwa nafikiria mimi ni Gabriel, Angel Gabriel. Hakuwa anajua sura yangu ni ya kiatu. So, akakuja. She was living in Dandora and I was living in Outer Ring. Then I had gone to work at Kawangware. Now she was telling me that, now today I'm coming. No, I started panicking. She's coming and I look like this and I don't have even anything. What will I do? And in fact, I'm smelling zebu. Hey, yawa. Okay, but we will go. So, I boarded the vehicle and I went to Outer Ring to wait for her. Now, when she came, it was another big surprise. She was wearing like the Uwur families, you know them. I'm sorry to say Uwur family. And how the Uwurs wear.
Oh, church, can you say?
Yeah. Iyo nguo refu mpaka chini. So unajua, I looked at her and I said, is this kienyeji or it is an nini? Hybrid of kienyeji and nini. She could not talk. Bena niangalia hivyo nasema, woi, nilikuwa nafikiria ni huyu. Now, we kept quiet, both of us. Nobody talks to each one. Amenyamaza, mimi nimenyamaza. Tuko hapo Rafael hapo Outer Ring. Amenyamaza, mimi nimenyamaza. So najaribu kujiuliza sasa huyu msichana nitamfanya aje? Nianze kumdanganya aje? And sisi wanaume, uongo is the first priority ndio to win. So nikaanza kumpanga. Nikamwambia hakuna shida, wewe twende tu kwa nyumba, kila kitu iko bathroom, iko sink, iko kila kitu. Wewe twende. Baada amekaa tu akaniambia twende. Now she was dragging her feet. So ndio nikatafuta nini nitamwambia ndiye afanye haraka twende. Nikamwambia in fact kuna nyama nimenunua nimeweka kwa table na panya inaweza enda nayo. Tuharakishe mguu tufike haraka isiende. So we had now to run, to move very fast so that we are. When she found out that I was living in the ghetto, nyumba ya mabati, she held her head like this and cursed the day she was born. Nikamwambia pana, tulia tu. Nyumba ni nyumba.
Basi ulikuwa umesema ni sink.
Nyumba ni nyumba, mimi ni mimi. I wanted how to win her heart so that akuje. Kufungua hiyo mlango kuingia kwa nyumba, hata sukuma wiki ya 10 bob haikuwa. So that's how things went. Now, and I can say that God was with me at that particular time, by the way, because nikamuuliza, sasa tutafanya nini? Nikupikie nini? Akasema hataki chakula. Nikasema nikutayarishie mboga. Akasema hataki chakula. Nikasema Mungu sasa. Nikafunga mlango na nje because I feared that nikiwacha mlango wazi anaweza disappear on a thin air. So nikafunga mlango na nje, nikaenda kuuliza Mungu pale nje, sasa Mungu nifanye nini? Ameingia ako kwa nyumba. Hii ni nyama imeingia na haiwezi toka. Ikitoka tu imeenda. So nikarudi. Nikakaa chini. Sasa I had to play something innocent. So nika play innocent, tukaongea, calm down, tuka spend the night. The following morning, she woke up early as 5, preparing herself to leave. You know, and I was saying, God, why do you do this? Mbona? Why? Nilikosea wapi? Why me? Anaenda kwa nini? I begged. The first time I knelt down to beg a girl, I knelt down, I begged her. I told her, please, please, mommy, please, don't go, don't leave me. And she said that she's leaving. Now I said, okay, kama umedecide unaenda, okay, sawa, wacha mimi nikuzindikisha tu. Lakini Mungu ambaye ako, sioni kama utafika nyumbani.
Itakuwa imemfanyikia.
Those are threats. You know, when you want something, at least you issue a threat so that you get it. So I was issuing some little threats za chini chini ya maji. And then I was escorting her. Wakati tulikuwa karibu kufika kwa stage, nikamwambia, wewe panda gari urudi, lakini ujue mimi ndio Mungu alipanga na wewe. Kama sio mimi, sidhani, ni mimi tu. Sasa ile kwenda kustep mguu ingie kwa gari, kiatu ikaanguka. Akaokota kiatu, akarudi nyuma, tikambi imekatika. Nikamwambia mwenye gari, wewe enda, huyo anakaribia saa enda. Gari kakanyago Alafu fortunate there was somebody who was passing there with watermelons. Then nikanunua watermelon ya 40 bob, nikampatia. Just in a respectful way, nikamwambia shika watermelon, utoe nayo hasira. Akakula watermelon, gari ya pili kukuja, nikamwambia sasa wacha tupande hii, turudi kwa nyumba. And we went back home. Imagine that watermelon did a miracle. And then tuko kwa nyumba mpaka leo, and we have 3 children. Amen. Tuko na watoto watatu, beautiful girls. Jirin J, Valerie and Melissa. Yeah. Beautiful girls. Hata sikujua nakuja kuzaa watoto warembo. I have beautiful girls. Yes, by Catherine Ouko Omondi. That is the love of my heart. Yes.
Kabla hii show ishe, I want you to sing us a very nice song. But before that, I really want to appreciate you. Nikwambie wewe ni msee mnoma kabisa. Kuna siku nilishanifunza shengu ukaniambia kuduru. Kuduru ni?
Kuduru ni kuomba. Kuduru ni kuomba, like sisi tukiwa pale kwa street, like mimi wale watu walikuwa hizo matime tulikuwa tunalala hapa. Unaona pale Abasanda. Hiyo ukicross ukienda kwa customer care Safaricom. That crossroad tulikuwa tunalala hapo na something like this glass. Then kuna vile tulikuwa tunafanya, yani to enhance something to get something. So tulikuwa tunachukua saliva tunapaka kwa macho. So wewe ukiniangalia hapo utaona huyu mtoto amelia mpaka machozi imekauka, unachukua pesa unaweka. So that is how we survived. Unalala hapo chini na but there sometimes ilikuwa ngumu ile tunakimbizwa na kanjo. Hauwezi kuvumilia. Then I will not hide. I was doing drugs, all of them. But God is who? Alinitoa kwa yote. Nilikuwa na vuta gum. Until today, when I'm in the street, I talk to the street boys. I still believe that they are part of my family. I talk to them. And in fact, there are some even I mentored, and right now they have families. Some are doing businesses. Yes. So wewe ukiwa hapo kama street boy, tafadhali, najua unani watch kwa simu, kwa sababu siku hizi kila mtu akona smartphone, even you guys. Please, just go home. Enda tu pale kwenyu, hautafukuzwa, hautapigwa. Omba Mungu, pray to God, ask God to guide you. Akwe guidance wako, rudi nyumbani. Talk to your mother, talk to your dad. Tell them you want to go back and learn. Life is not something to gamble with. Street is not a good place to live. Me being a musician, you have heard what I went through. So hata wewe unaweza. You can do it. Even though I'm not where you want, I will be there where you want one day by God's willing.
I love that. Unajua wanasemanga unafaa upatie mtu maua yake kama bado ako alive. I really want to tell you that you're a very great guy. You're a great musician. You spread, yani mtu akikumit for the first time. The first encounter I had with you, yani you had a lot of love to give. You are such an amazing man. Your calls, tunaongea, after this we will still talk, encouragement. You're such a good guy, and if anyone that ushai kutana naye kwa life akashai kudim light yako, like you've passed all that on, umepita hizo vitu zote, in prison, all that, and you still had your light shining. I want to shine a light on you and tell you that you are a very good person. And nilikuwa nataka kuangalia ile kamera, kuna mama ako pale nyumbani, huyo mama, hebu mwambie maneno matamu kama anakuwatch.
Okay, now as we are clearing our conversation, I want to pass my greeting to my dearly mom, Mama Julita Adhiambo Odongo. My mom, tulifight na wewe, tukafanya kazi na wewe, tukapigwa pamoja na wewe, wenye walitupiga sasa hivi waangalie kwa TV ama wherever, ndio huyu mimi Ken. Mama nakushukuru. Agoni yero kama no minwa. Mama na iniminyola inimitera school. Inimimio asomo manyalo wacho dhongere miwinja wachogi. Kok in mama na mama lukange kumadikora anti agoni yero kama no Nyasaye umedindalo kata baba no seto tupodintie alamuni Nyasaye kamora mora mantie lamuni modaga ina robika. Then my wife Catherine Ouko Omondi, you are my life. Inimiketa wewe ndio umefanya niko kwa sababu ya advice zako. Umekubali kukaa nyumbani hata kama watu wanaongea vitu mbaya mbaya. Wewe umevumilia, bado uko nyumbani unachunga watoto wangu, unachunga nyumba yetu, unachunga vitu zetu. Mimi pia niko Nairobi natafuta, usikwe na wasiwasi. Mimi ndio mume wako. Sina mke mwingine ila wewe. Watoto wangu, my kids, my children, my firstborn, Jilin J. Nakusalamia. Congratulations for being top 1. Valerie, congratulations for being top 1. Melissa, na wasalamia nyi wote. Nitawapigania, mtasoma hata kama tuna shida. Mtasoma mpaka tumalize shule. Mungu atafungua.
As you have heard from MacD, like I always say, we always need that one person to give us hope. His story has really given me hope. Like you should never give up. Hata kama uko kwa ile verge ya ku give up. He's such a nice guy. And if you're out there, if you're a street child, or if you have an organization where you need somebody to talk to your kids, MacD is always there. And if you're a producer, you feel like you want to shine a light on MacD, you can always produce a song for him. And if you have an event and you feel like you need somebody to perform for you, MacD is the guy to call. And before we end this show, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share. Let me take it to MacD atumalizie show na kawimbo kamoja.
Kipenzi changu we, kila kidogo ninalolipata minala nawe. Kila kidogo ninalolipata mpenzi we, minala nawe.
Amazing stuff. Make sure to call him, like, comment, subscribe, and share. YouTube naitwa nani?
YouTube, if you go to YouTube, it is MacD Nala Nawe. Don't forget to write Nala Nawe. MacD. M-A-C-D. Nala Nawe. And you find my music.
Love is a beautiful thing with me, Millicent Alivita. Bye.